Welcome to BeoTalk 270.
Good
Hope
evening.
everybody's doing well, as per usual. Leave a like and subscribe, as that helps out a lot. Also, if you want a guaranteed answer to your question and our topic is super chat, we'll do that. Go and buy some cool stuff from Skinny Play. Links in description, I think, and in chat. And you get 10% off. Come join our Discord. Because Georgie saved my ass last night through BeoWorld, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
If you hate YouTube for whatever reason, come over to Twitch. We're there too. And that's about it. At least I think. Oh yeah, and we have a Substack, but I've been way too busy to keep up with that. I've recorded everything, so eventually everything will go back up on there as a backup, and way too many platforms these days.
I know. It's almost too much.
It seems like we'll have to do Rumble too someday soon, and yeah, God, it never bloody ends.
What's the other one? Patreon? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's for like getting money. And
Yeah.
this is the most unprepared show that there ever has been on the internet, so I daren't ask for too much money. If you want to give it, that's fine. Like, it helps me keep the light on and that sort of thing. But so far, it's a net negative on the books.
That's right. For the last 5 years.
Yeah. God, the amount of time we spent, and yeah, well, whatever.
Lots. It's all in the fun.
Then again, it did, I guess, it in non-tangibles lead to our Discord that helps everybody.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's share that with the class. So what happened?
So, well, there's progress, right? Like, my house is finally getting to a place where I can actually do things with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, after, 2.5 months, the cats came back yesterday. So I've been living kitty-free for like 2.5 months, which is unpleasant. And the missus came back, and we're at the phase for the living room anyway, where I can install baseboards and a few trim pieces, and then we're there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, well, besides installing B&O, but like that's not the hard part. At least the actual shape of it is done, and the ceiling is done. It's all painted. The floor is laid. The electrical is done. You name it.
No, you only have to, I guess, hang 2 pairs of 17s.
3
pairs of 17s, and if you don't hang the 50s, you just put them down, and you hang in a TV on the
I
wall.
want to hang them from the ceiling.
Right on. It'd be interesting to do.
That way, I'll save the motor over the years. It's easier.
It's probably harder for it the other way. You never know.
Yeah, well, in like 2 years' time, I'll put them on the floor again. That means there's not like an inordinate amount of dust flying around all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided I want some actual music around, right? Like not just a Beosound 1. Or, a BeoPlay A1.
Yeah.
So I unboxed, like, ooh, my Beosound 2 again. And since it's a new network, new everything, I thought might as well factory reset it and try to add it back to the app. Well,
yes,
that wasn't happening. Because the Beosound 2 decided my serial number is nothing and my item number is nothing. So everything works except for the app and or all the built-in sources.
It almost lost the ASC module, like its mind, basically.
Yes. Which is utterly bizarre. But apparently it's not super uncommon.
It's uncommon enough that I couldn't find any mention about it on in the articles, because we went through it yesterday night while we're trying to figure this out.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't log in with the service tool or anything.
Yeah, I had no access to it. I could see it. I could see your product, but I could not do anything about, I couldn't read out anything. All the agreements were black. I mean, the X's were on them, so that there was no access whatsoever of any kind,
And also,
and you couldn't even push the software through the
the
service
software didn't
tool,
match.
and software didn't match. Yes.
Yes, what you saw was 1.26 and I was on 1.27 on my side.
Yeah, and 1.26 was the initial original software, like the very first.
So, since before I contacted you, I was probably fucking around with it for like an hour or so. Like, what the hell? Because who knows with the new app, right? If it's even coded correctly for old or old devices. Because if you already had them, they're probably there through the update.
Yes.
So
but if you're adding new,
yeah, because I could access it through the web browser just fine. Which is also really strange, like, because essentially the app is doing the same.
Yeah.
So, but I could install it through the web browser. I just couldn't add it to my list in the app anymore. So, like, Bluetooth worked, wired internet worked, wireless internet worked, AirPlay worked, Chromecast worked. Just the app didn't work. And
that's so weird.
So after like 45 minutes to an hour, I started ranting a bit, like God damn it. And then the hero of the hour, Georgie on Discord, apparently he found a thread on BeoWorld. And since I no longer had an account, since it went down, I made a new one over there. But apparently somebody on BeoWorld had the same. And he wrote, or she, I don't know, but wrote to B&O, and B&O sent them a PDF. And this is the PDF. And in there, in the PDF, fortunately, these are clickable links. They're not just, not like you have to copy paste it or something like that, right? And that leads you to some special firmware, if you can connect to it, which it's fairly large. It's like 80 megabytes or something. But apparently it is able to retrieve the item number and serial number, because I had literally this, right? Like Beosound, here it says BeoPlay M5. Mine was Beosound 2-000. That's how it showed up in the Wi-Fi list. Which is, I thought that was odd, but I don't know. The last time I installed it was 3 years ago. Like, I don't remember.
Fuck.
So, and then you have to upload it, which takes a while. And I mean, it takes you through it. But apparently it's common on the Beosound 2 Mark 1, the Beosound 1 Mark 1, and the BeoPlay M5. Or common. I mean, it's happened, but it's not something that you can search in the back end with, like, even the right keywords, apparently.
I wonder if it's something to do with either there's no CMOS battery on the board to keep all the brain together if you had it turned off for this long.
Yeah, maybe. That's what my thought was as well. Or maybe the CMOS battery is from 2018 and is just
dead.
Like, it keeps a charge for a day or two, right? And then that's it.
That's about it. So yeah, that could be that, because it doesn't make any sense that it would just lose its mind. So I guess I might be expecting the same if I pull out my Beosound 1 out of the storage.
Yeah. So, I mean, I sent you the software, but I'll send you the PDF too. If anybody wants the PDF, let me know. I can put it on Discord or whatever. Just be very aware that if you upload this software and something goes wrong, it's like properly bricked. Because you're updating it from a local file in this point. Like, you have a different computer, iPad, whatever, download it and then upload it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lose internet connection, if you lose power, I mean, I was quite worried about that because we've been having some weird power issues in the area where I think they're working on some like high voltage power lines at night. And not last night, not the night before, but the 2 nights before that, I'm sitting here at like around midnight, and all of a sudden all the lights go down and up and down and up.
Oh no.
And then it's
That's
done,
so
right?
bad.
But I
That's
walked
so
to my
bad.
computer and it's off. Like, and it was on.
Fucking hell. No, that's so bad for electronics. Oh my god.
So, since I saw that happening, I've decided like overnight my computer will be fully off, not in sleep, not in nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is the weird story of like, apparently there's special software out there that you can download because it's common enough that they needed to make it, but it's
Not common enough to be put into the bloody even the ROS, like not the ROS, but the BOWise haven't been able to find anything in regards to that, which is interesting.
But yeah, I mean, I was almost to the point where I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll use it as a dumb speaker, as in like I'll use it as a computer speaker again or something. It won't connect to anything, but everything works somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so weird that it would happen, or that it would do it, or why would it do it? That's my biggest question. Why would it do that? I'm suspecting if there is a CMOS battery or any capacitor that is supposed to retain the charge for, a certain period of time, then that would be it. But then, like, okay, what happens if a dealer has it on the shelf for all these years and you just want to put it up? You sell it to somebody now, it's brand new, never been opened, but it's been sitting for, like, is it on the dealer then? What do you do?
Yeah, so this is the thread on BeoWorld.
Okay. Just
And
so I can see it.
Yeah, you have to log in to see the attachments and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One of the attachments there is the PDF, which saved my ass. So, who should I thank? Herluf Hansen. Thank you, Herluf Hansen. This was a bloody lifesaver because I know for a fact if I went to like the B&O help desk or something, you explain exactly what happened, and then you get an email back saying, "We've received your email. Could you explain what happened?" Because that seems to be the email thread always. Like you say what's happened, then you have to say the exact same thing again. And then by the time you get the PDF or the link or the software or whatever, you're 2-3 weeks in.
Yeah, that is so. I just can't explain why would that happen. Like, what happened? But that's something that, like, to a client, even through the support tool as a service, I'm screwed. I can't do anything to help you.
No.
Like, other than, I guess, sending you this file, but like there's people that are not nowhere near interested nor capable even. Because they might not have a network cable sitting around the house to go to the fucking network room, right, or whatever your router is to plug in. Maybe then you don't have a power cord long enough to plug in the Beosound 1 or Beosound 2 to update the bloody thing. So, yeah.
I also think people are generally afraid to type in IP addresses in their web browsers, right? Because you never do it. Like most people never ever do that.
Fair enough.
Like the IT bros or the IT aficionados or the people that build their own computers, they do it every so often, right? But it's not the most common thing to do. And then you see something you've never seen before, and it's like, oh.
Fair enough.
I mean, and like we were on the phone last night, and I mean the wording in the like update from a local file tripped me up as well, because it literally said if you press yes, you cannot disconnect the power or the Ethernet. And I was like, but it's on Wi-Fi. Must it be on Ethernet?
Yeah,
like I don't know what to do here. Like, must it be on Ethernet?
It must.
So
It's the most, like, I would not trust it being on Wi-Fi, man, because if some part of the board just reboots based on the firmware update sequence and you lose connection and it just pooches out, then you're done, right? Like you just bricked your speaker.
yeah, so and since my network for the house is nowhere near done because it's like I'm not at that point yet.
Hmm.
I'm still on that stupid Aero device that has one extra Ethernet port, and that's what this computer is on. So I had to decline, re-download it to my iPad. So my iPad was on Wi-Fi, and then
Hmm.
take this computer off and put the Beosound 2 on wired in Ethernet, and re-upload it again. So it's like, who? Like, it
Pain in the
probably
butt.
would have been fine, but the wording trips me up because surely they chose to write "do not disconnect
Moth.
the
Yeah.
Ethernet" for a reason, right?
Yes.
I mean, that would assume you have the Ethernet plugged in, I would think.
No, I think it's just a straight up default warning that it was pre-typed. I don't think it's intelligent enough based on, like I guess the toggles of where it's plugged in or what
Yeah,
it's
but the
connected to.
copywriter could have also said "do not disconnect the internet,"
Yes.
but it specifically says Ethernet.
Ethernet, yes.
It doesn't say Wi-Fi. It doesn't say it, or do not disconnect the network or disconnect it from the network.
I think the reason why they might say Ethernet is because of the service tool, but I don't know if there is an access on the service tool actually. I have to pull up a laptop and look.
So it's yeah. So that just took way longer because of that. But it works now, and I have music again, which is kind of nice.
How long did it take to update? About 40 minutes, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it reset to like a very early version software.
Yeah.
Then I immediately got a software update to 1 point something. Downloaded that, installed that. Then immediately thereafter, I got another software update to, and that's what I'm on now. I think it's 2.3 point
Yeah.
something or other.
Yeah, it's what Sundeep has too. That 54366.
Yeah, with the B&O radio and everything.
Nice.
So
Yeah, it's so weird, so bizarre. So bizarre. Anyways, happy Thanksgiving, everybody in Canada. It's a turkey day.
happy Canadian Thanksgiving. It's probably cold
Yeah.
there.
It is. It started to rain, and it's gonna rain the entire week, which sucks because I was going to go to the storage next week and just dig around some stuff. But
Guys, as I'm currently using a P6 as I pack it up, and it only works with USB-C plugged in, i.e. not with battery. App says 100%. It's a dead battery or something similar. Yeah, that's a dead battery.
yeah, and I think that the P6 and I think they're intercompatible now between, like, it's the same battery. Maybe it's a different connector, but I think they're all using more or less the same shape of the battery. So you have to be careful with the dealer orders.
It's fixable for
Whether it's
sure,
P6, yeah.
but that's a dead battery. It probably either stayed on a charge its entire life, or it was not charged enough when you just had it laying in a cupboard or something.
Mm-hmm. 40 pounds to go. Yeah.
I mean, those lithium-ion batteries, right? They will die if you leave them dead forever.
A while, yeah.
Yeah, 2 years not in use will kill that. I mean, take out an old phone, right? That if you still have, like, I don't know, an iPhone 8, 7, 6, something like that you haven't charged in 2 years. You can charge it and it'll work for a bit, but it'll be dead in like 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also the batteries that you buy from B&O, like for the BO6 service river batteries replacements. They are basically from that era still, so I don't think it's really worth doing that unless you have a guy that can make you batteries.
Yeah,
those are not hard to make.
But yeah, no, my heart sank a bit when I saw that serial number 00000. It's just like, oh no, my first B&O is dead after the move. Like, what the hell happened?
Right out of the box. Poof. At least the 50s work, so you're fine there.
And my moment works.
That is like that sound system was so awesome for like how it was, but it definitely became a meme at this point. Like
Yeah, it's just not good that they sort of
I
went.
can't believe they
Fuck.
like just completely like ditched out even on upgrading it, the B&O radio on it. It's just straight up tune in for life, which
Yeah,
sucks.
God, it's a similar system to what my VW used for like showing album art and stuff, which is that inner ring, which is a subscription, and they just didn't pay it, or that's why that inner ring no longer works.
Could it be that the company maybe went down and the part of that server is
I
shut
think they're
down
still in
now?
Audis and VWs, and
Oh,
it's
really?
it's just a software license, I think, and it costs X amount of dollars a year.
It's definitely not in the Audis in the US or Canada. I haven't seen that interface ever.
No, it's not the interface. It's the background process that shows you the album art if you have it like wired.
Mm.
Like if you have a bunch of albums on your phone with album art, that it gets into like your center screen.
Oh, I see.
I forget what it's called now, but
The
my
CDDB, I guess.
my head unit was one of the first ones back in the day of the Golf Mark Sevens, and it was a lot slower than the newer ones. So I
Mm.
sometimes saw that logo pop up in newer cars. It
Oh,
loaded fast enough that you never saw it.
fudge. What is it called now? I know exactly what service because my service also has that. My car also has that service,
Yeah,
but sometimes it pulls, sometimes it doesn't pull the album art. The weird thing is that it pulls the album art if I'm playing it from the Deezer and it's just from let's say the same album, like Depeche Mode Ultra that I have on an SD card. It will pull up the album art from I guess the SD card that shows it on the screen because it's the same.
yeah.
I don't know. It's the same piece of information. I guess it knows. I don't know how it knows, but it's weird.
So yeah, but yeah, I was sort of at a point where like, well, is this a bad
Oh,
excuse to buy that Ferrari BSN 2? Grace note, that's it.
yeah, that's right. Thanks, buddy.
It's like, and how do I sell that? Like, oh shit, my BSN 2 died. Let's buy it. The Ferrari edition.
That's a good segue, bro.
Because I do like that version.
It is nice. It is
Yeah.
very nice, actually. It's beautiful. Like we have it in the shop. It is beautiful. We sold one so far.
I mean, I think they're
So,
ridiculously expensive.
oh yeah, but that's I guess the premium you pay for nice things.
I mean, apparently there's more Atelier editions coming.
Yeah, I've seen the picture of it. I don't know on what or where, but I've seen it's like almost like bluish now. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, they changed this picture, which
So
is
it goes
good.
blue to gray. Weirdness.
It's sort of
Oh my god, it goes to like pink too.
Daybreak Blossom. And that
Mm.
one is even more expensive than the Ferrari one.
It's like a gender reveal color, you know what I mean? It's blue or pink.
Are we going to go boy or are we going to go girl?
Like I don't know. It looks nice, but it's not something that's very like very feminine in my eyes. I could see like a single girl living somewhere and buying that for herself in the living room. It looks nice with the bouquet of flowers and whatever else have you
Yeah.
there.
The funny thing was Chaba over on the Discord. He was saying like, why does B&O always send out pictures like this? Like it's the the leaning tower of B&O.
Which one? Oh yeah.
Like apparently the last few of the Atelier pictures that went out to customers were like this.
Roll your edges a little, guys. You know what I mean? That's terrible. I got see. Anders has the Beosound One New York edition. I really regret to this day that I never bought that one, but I do have the piano black. So the one before that, I guess. Uh, I might just dig it up from the storage and see if I'm gonna get it. If I'm gonna have to put that software on it too, because that ain't happening in this apartment. I'd have to take it to the shop.
I used to have the what is it the bronze, a copper color Beosound one,
Yeah.
and I really liked how it looked. But and it's funny, back in the day, I thought the Beosound one was a lot prettier, but I'm very happy I switched to Beosound 2. I mean, I just never used the portability of the Beosound 1 at all. Like, yes, it was smaller, but I'm not that struck for space. And now, having looked at it for like years and lived with it, I actually think the Beosound 2's a bit prettier.
Well, that's why the Beosound One is not around anymore, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a taste thing, and it's kind of funny how tastes change over time, right?
Mm. You know what? For me, I liked it where it was because his space was in the bathroom, right?
Mm.
So it worked perfectly for that environment. It's something that I wouldn't probably put it in my bedroom as a bedroom speaker. I would still resort to maybe using the bloody Beosound Moment, because then at least I can still use my Beo time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's logic between that or after or in that. Yes, I know it's antiquated, but at the end of the day, like if you just want to wake up to a radio station, it doesn't matter if it's TuneIn or be on a radio, you know. And I screwed up my Beosound core because if it's never been fixed. I don't think it's been fixed. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm gonna definitely do that. When you plug in a Link-I to a Beosound core,
Mm-hmm.
it works with the Beo4 remote, no problem, right?
Yeah.
It works with the Beo time, no problem. As soon as you plug in a USB power USB power, as soon as you plug in USB from the Beo, the shape amplifier, and you make it a shape, you no longer are able to control anything from the Beo4 other than light commands.
So strange.
So no volume, no up and down, step up, step down, sideways, whatever. Nothing. No digits work. No sources work. It will not trigger. It works with the Beo Remote 1, no problem, through IR.
Mm.
But then you lose the ability to like turn the volume down with the Beo time, like the older alarm clock, which I don't think we're that far away from the IR in BNO's history that we have to abolish that protocol completely.
Every
And why?
year, a bit more back end is gonna go. It seems.
Oh yeah, dude, it falls apart like it's blowing away like sandcastle. But it's what it is. I do like the Explorer, for my wallet that I want to have it because I want to carry it around more or less for like part of the toolbox because it's all red and black. It looks cool. It's nicely crafted actually.
So in USD, it's $5,700 for the Atelier Edition Beosound 2, and the Ferrari one is $5,500, so $200 less.
Mm. Ferrari's 55.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's even more expensive.
The Ferrari is cheaper.
Interesting. Interesting.
You would have thought they would put it at the same price point.
I wonder how many times they had to anodize that bloody thing to get that hueing color. Like, is it applied with the do they spray it and then it's just dipped to? I don't understand
I think
how.
they dip it and then progressively go further down, right?
But wouldn't you have the fucking coffee stain line basically on it? Like you don't just. How do you
like
make
dip,
it like
polish, dip, polish, dip, polish,
Oh, I guess they would polish it out, yeah.
and then you
And then they
gradually go.
cut the grooves, I
Yeah,
think, as the last thing, and then they anodize that again. The ring is like cheap code. That's just one code. Here you go, done. Throw it in.
I think it's probably an utter pain in the ass to make these color fades.
I'm certain of it because they've never been able to perfect that for a long time. Because that started off not too like that. The first time they really tried to mess with that was the New York edition.
Yeah. If anybody's in for a A1 second gen, they're on sale at the moment for 28% off.
That's nice.
$200. It's not bad.
I'd still get an Explorer over that. I like that thing a lot,
I
man.
don't use either of them enough, quite honestly. To
No, neither do I. But they're like, this is perfect for like having a smoke on a balcony with the little, sound going on.
Yeah.
It's perfect for that. But no, it's not like a primary stereo for God's sake. But it's fun to have, especially going out. If you stay in a hotel somewhere, it's perfect to have.
I mean, this is a bit scary. From $9,390 for a theater.
You know what's scary? That if you want the black Lab 8s, like I think we're pushed down to like almost March of 24
Ooh.
availability. So far, rumor has it. Like it's gonna be March, maybe February, maybe March. Hopefully February.
Wait, does that mean that? Ooh, you better
It's
hope.
gonna be limited stock. Like it's gonna be definitely limited stock, which is like it doesn't make any sense, guys. Like you announce a nice ass speaker that it's gonna definitely sell right before Christmas, more or less, because it's October, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then yes, you can have it, but what are you gonna just give him a freaking paper cutout for the under the Christmas tree because it's available in March or February or whatever?
But looking at how stuff has gone in the last few years, does that mean you have to kind of pre-order because there might be a price rise by then?
I don't think there would be a price rise, but I think that like well, I don't think the pre-ordering would make much difference because if it's a default stock allocation and they don't have enough units to send around, they're not going to just send you because you ordered fucking 20. You know what I mean? It's like drinking everybody's water out of the well.
Hmm.
You don't give a shit. You ain't thirsty and you got your bottles filled, but everybody else is dying.
Sandeep said they said March 24th a few weeks ago at launch.
Yeah, so
That's a
I
long ass
really
time.
hope that it's actual glass, which I think it is a real glass top, which then kind of, you know what, maybe there should be like a silent revision to the BeoLab 28s and swapping that for a glass top as well,
Yes.
instead of the cheese ball plastic. And I think for the 70 or whatever, let's say $7,500 that the bloody Atelier is gonna cost now for Canadian dollars,
Mm.
have that in glass too, man. They should totally switch that entire top plate program into glass made.
I've seen a few where, like, on the top of the 28s, the plastic delaminated a bit at the
Yeah,
edges.
yeah. It's just especially like some people have more not even greasier hands, but some people use a lot more moisturizers and stuff, and that does stay in permeates over time.
Also, depending on
So
what type of cleaning products you use, plastic is just not optimal.
that's right. And usually those people are not the ones that are cleaning those speakers. It's their mates, right? So
Yeah.
whatever they got, they run through that shit and then boom.
Well, even
So
if you use something that you think is okay, like Windex, because it's so commonly used on everything.
it's not
You know,
cool to use Windex at all on any of the products.
it is
Thanks,
glass and
Christian.
twee,
It is glass. That's awesome. Yeah. That's
or
I
it's
read
glass on
somewhere that it
eights.
was no, it's glass on the BeoLab 8s. I'm certain of it. It wasn't just the rendering because I think like I saw it through the but yeah, I think they should do the glass for the 28s. Like I don't know if it would be a silent revision or whatever, but I think it would elevate that speaker a little bit more for how much it costs.
I like both, but I kind of like the look of the black fabric too.
My only issue with the black fabric that it's recessed in, right? Because there's that space that is provided for the lamellas to be installed over top when you buy the wood grills.
I kind of
So
like that though. It's sort of, it gives it an extra depth to it. Like it's,
doesn't round it up as much. Yes, you're right.
I mean, it's personal and it's taste. Obviously, you can go either way, and I'm pretty sure both ways it'll look nice. But I think this sort of looks interesting. It's almost, you almost like sort of want to go up to it and go like, what's going on? I mean,
I'm with Sandeep on that. The gap looks all wrong. But yeah, you have a gap issue, so that's different. I still prefer, like, I'm gonna obviously have my wrist slit for the walnut covers. I don't know how much those are gonna cost when they ever become available, which I'm certain they would or
probably the
should.
price of a cover plus either 30% or plus 50%.
Yeah, something like that.
What, and a cover set is what, €900 or dollar or something? So probably $1,500-$1,600 US. So you're pushing $2,000 Canadian.
Which is a little bit ridiculous comparatively to that. Like, that's way more wood. I don't know if that's way harder to manufacture than this. You know?
I don't know. Maybe it's because we can kind of deal.
At least there is now service lamellas for the walnuts, so you can, because I have one that is cracked, and we had one that had to be re-glued. I honestly don't know why they're bothering with gluing those last three on each side. It makes no difference. They do break off just like all the other ones, even with that crazy packaging. So I guess it really depends on how it's handled.
I mean, in
But it's
terms of
much better.
the covers, I think we probably have to wait to fully judge before we actually see it in the flesh, because
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
can't
like
wait
with
till the
everything
training comes.
B&O, it's like for some reason it just photographs all wrong often, right?
Yeah, but I think this is also we're in the era of renderings, right? Where back in the day, they just like, their job was to Photoshop the red dot on the speaker. Where now it's the whole thing is made on a computer, right? It's a video game look.
Like
That's
30
my
years ago, you had the guy with like a red pencil that was just like, it's there.
trend, red
And that's
marker, but
all he
no,
did.
it's definitely not. It's not something that yeah, all the VNO is rendered, so it just, to me, it looks very video game-ish. No matter how good they try to do the textures or whatnot, it never beats the real life setting picture, right, in a
Yeah.
house. So I'm quite looking forward to
I
that
mean, if they're
speaker,
real
actually.
pictures, then stop applying so many filters and shit.
This is a nice photo. This is actually a real photo
I
that
think
I'm
this is
thinking.
partially the whole idea of like why everything must have Mozart.
Mm.
Because that way you can have a record player and you have your controls on your speaker and you don't need anything else like a core and or a remote necessarily, because that's
Mm.
what millennials want, right?
Yeah, but to me, still, I think it's kind of crazy that you're using you know, you're all about the analog, but you're using everything digitally.
Yeah,
Even the music that you are recorded, that you're using from the recording, has been recorded digitally. But you just put that extra step of noise and shit in it, right? Call it a turntable. And I don't know. I would have this thing. I don't know. I'm not a turntable guy. We've killed this topic a number of times. I'm not gonna go back to and beat the dead horse. I don't like turntables. I never saw value in it much, and that's the era of my life that will never repeat itself. So I would just go with the set of speakers as, like, to start with lab aids. But I would put them in the back and would move the 18s up front, because I think 18s with the theater can hold up pretty good. The
the
front
18s
lines,
look prettier.
well, they look more elegant. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean,
That's the only
that's
thing.
still a thing that's going to be hard to beat, right? Like, in pure, like, a lot of people buy B&O partially for the looks, and 18s are just a hard
Beautiful.
proposition to beat looks wise, even if they sound worse. I mean, even if it's acoustically better to have your theater 8s up front and 18s in the rear, would you really do that?
Mm.
Because wouldn't you? Because you're sitting that way. Wouldn't you rather look at your 18s? And it's not that the Beolab 8s are bad looking. I like them, but it's this, right? It's not big. It's not sleek, elegant.
It doesn't have as much presence. I understand,
Yeah,
but it also doesn't like steal the presence, right? They always look, very elegant, no matter what. So yeah, I get it. It's an old technology speaker. It sounds better than it ever has. I have to say, it sounds better than it ever has with theater's help.
absolutely.
That is bar none. Like, and actually, any speaker that we had connected to the theater sounds better than it ever has before. And yeah, it's just it's theater's a great system. It's just they need to figure out some nonsense with it, in my onion, because yeah, I do not understand. I'm gonna go back to the app and brag or bitch about that a little bit. I don't understand how it shows that I'm listening to BNO radio or I'm listening to Deezer Flow,
Hmm.
but when I go to the source list, I can no longer select it. Only my TV panel sources show up, even the ones that I've turned off and deleted or uninstalled the apps of.
Yeah, this was part of my annoyance of not knowing what does, where it's coming from, because my phone was on the app beta, or is on the app beta, and my iPad isn't, and none of them yesterday would connect, and it's like, what the fuck do I do now?
Hmm.
And this is I guess, the power of the internet and Discord and BeoWorld and stuff, and this is like, Discord saved my ass by directing me to BeoWorld, because it's so obscure that apparently it doesn't happen, but it does happen or something. It's
Hmm.
strange.
Well, I guess it happens enough that they had to make a software fix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So thank you, Discord. Thank you, BeoWorld.
Out of all the places, they're still kicking it, so that's good.
Yeah. I mean, I want them to thrive. Like, I don't see our Discord as a competitor necessarily. It's just
No,
more interactive. Like, there's also no way we can compete with all the many decades of manuals they have.
no, no. They're a great resource and library for everything. That's for sure. For someone that doesn't have access to what I have access to, I guess. But now it's a little more confusing to get material out of BN.
This is his internet or mine? Uh, it's his. Hold on. Let me mute him for a second, because that beeping is going to be bloody loud. It says reconnecting. Hold on. You're there again. Let me unmute you again.
I don't know what happened. Somebody's downloading porn on my building, I guess, or fudge. Turn off the Plex and stuff. Maybe that's eaten. It's always the Canadian internet. Well, I have no control over that because I'm on the whatever building's Wi-Fi thing, so I can't do shite about it. But I don't have anybody living beside me on both sides, so I don't understand. Have you heard of the BeoVision Spectre? Is that the one with the transparent display?
Yes.
So then
Answer the question for everybody.
sorry.
No, I
Oops, I'm gonna make a coffee. I need to wake myself up.
have.
Oh, that was stupid. Right on. I don't know. I don't know what to think about that TV. To be honest with you, I think it's a nonsense. What's the use?
uh, you can put it in front of windows, other things, open spaces without blocking the view. I don't think the screen tech is fully there yet,
I don't think so either.
but as a concept, it's very nice.
Yeah, almost there with the coffee.
So this is it. I think it looks nice.
Let's see. I think they had it on the anthracite TV.
I mean, it's also interesting
Yeah.
because it's a transparent display that there's no SMI involved at all. Like no backplate, no nothing.
Hmm. Yeah, so that VESA mount is gonna be like a different VESA mount, and it costs way more now because of it.
Yeah.
But I think it sits like that. Those last or bottom 3.5, 4 inches, whatever it is. I think that's where the mount is, and all the electronics are in, right? But 50 is the
Yeah.
biggest you can go with. There's nothing bigger. Honestly, I think it's dumb. Like, I don't understand. Commercially, completely different story. In your house, you'd be stupid to buy that.
I mean, it is
Makes no sense.
kind of sleek how this is like maybe not necessarily useful for how would you say see-through displays, but if this is a much cleaner backside of the TV than the current one is.
Look at that little cute VESA thing going on in the back there. Oh my god.
This is also where the power is,
Hmm.
etc. Everything.
I just don't see the point of it. Honestly, I do not see the point of it. It would annoy me to have a see-through TV because also, what's the point of it looking at it from the behind when your sound goes the other way? You can't change the sound in a theater to go both ways. It's not omnidirectional speaker.
I thought that's what the mic was for. Like,
Send it to the back. Oh my lord. No man, that's just crazy. It makes no sense. It's a cool idea. I give him that. It's a nice concept, but I think that that is something that has, in my opinion, zero implication in the real world of, unless commercial.
I mean, forget about necessarily the see-throughness. If they just laminated the back with I don't know metal or whatever, this would look a lot cleaner as a product. I would personally, I think, maybe they can get B&O to or LG to make something for B&O that has options elsewhere.
So how do you? Okay, let's put this in front of the window then. How do you? Okay, so it's not obscuring the view more or less, right? Because you see
Mm-hmm.
through the panel. How do you watch TV? Like it's not going full black. Like how do you still seeing through everything in a
Correct,
way? Do you not?
but I'm sort of right. It depends. There's settings for it, but I more so care for the design and how the actual display is done. Like, forget about the see throughness. If it's not see through in terms of a product, I think it looks really good.
Hmm.
Even if it's not see through, right? Like, to me, it looks quite sleek, and the back of the TV especially looks a lot better than the whole SMI plastic cover thing.
Yeah, but I think with that SMI nonsense, they have a lot more modularity of how to attach the panel.
Oh,
The
that's for
problem that
sure.
I see with this, the problem that I see with this is you would have to make a TV that basically uh, they would have to make the G3 panels a table stand variant
Yeah.
because that would be the place where that attaches to is a table stand.
Yes.
So how
What
much
they did with
adjustment
the
would
Eclipses
it
was,
give you though? Well,
or at
yeah, but
least the Mark
that's
One.
I think that's a dangerous game to play because we already have suffering succotash with the fucking eclipses, man. Because the panels are dying from different generations, and it's starting to become a real big problem because those panels are not being available anymore. Where with the theater as it is, this design allows for this panel to just go tits up, and I can buy another one. If I buy from G2 to G3, I wouldn't even have to do anything other than change the four screws and repull the power cable through the VESA mount
Yeah,
while I'm
you
putting it
can
on.
move it back and forth and for thickness
But
and
I wouldn't even need to because the thickness of the TV and everything is identical. But if over time it changes, you have enough to push out and make it flush anyways.
Yeah.
With this, I think there's not really that much game to play. Like, I'm sure that there is some sort of an adjustmentability, but it's nowhere near. I think this is very committed panel, and I'm sure that the theater is about half the price of that panel itself, if not more.
Probably. The panel is
So,
probably ridiculously expensive because it's essentially
oh hell yeah,
borderless.
yeah. So it's a cool tech. I gotta give them that. Like, I can see that in banks. I can see that in even pharmacies.
You're back.
No, not the bloody theater, but just like to have that as glass divides with display on it that you
Yeah.
can just put, run their stupid ads or whatever.
I mean, obviously, this show is awful because it's way overlit. So, like,
Of course.
you're not going to have your house lit like that. I mean, you can, but you'll go mad, I think, and probably never sleep and lose your circadian rhythm.
So, but do you still see the stuff from the other side backwards?
Uh, essentially, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't see a point in that in the regular. Like, even here, yes, I could see through that. Just drive the You drive me nuts to watch TV like that. Because my little room is very well lit. And I don't know, some people are all over the place that we should have those in the shop. I think this is a very silly idea to have
I don't know if
this
you do
committed
or
about.
not, but if get this and watch them porn so your neighbors can see the inverse of it.
It makes no sense, man. Yeah, and it is backwards, all the stuff. Or it's more or less completely transparent from the other side that you can barely see the picture.
Quick side question: is the Mark III Eclipse still the best one to get because of the wider slot for everything, or are you still like sort of screwed with the back
I don't
interval?
know. I think for the money that you spend on the Eclipse and all that, you'd better off with the theater.
No, I know, but like the Eclipses are going to get on the secondhand market pretty soon, right?
You stick with the Mark III, man.
Yeah,
Or if you can get your hands on the older panels, you can buy the Mark II. Mark One, completely forget about it because it's a properly built B&O panel only.
B&O still has
So
a few of them, but I would almost be at the point where like just buy one just in case.
yeah, if you want to keep the TV, like if you made not even the mistake of in having it installed gorgeous, so you have millwork around it and whatever else have you, I would highly recommend to buy a service panel for yourself, and you have another at least 7-8 years out of that TV because the sound center is going to be one of the last things that goes, if ever.
Yeah, and that's a sad part about the whole thing, right? Like you have a 10 to 20-year sound center with a screen that lasts maybe 5,
Yeah.
which is like, I mean, I guess that's always been sort of B&O-ish, like even the old Avant CRTs, right? Like CRT tech was very long lasting, but the sound center still lasted longer than the CRT screens.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But now the disparity is like you probably, before the Eclipse is like actually dead, you probably need 4 screens.
hmm Yeah. It's and that's one of the best investments you can make is the theater, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because it is impervious to those changes as far as the screens. Well,
Harmony is
caveat to
too,
that.
mostly.
Yeah, but then it also depends on LG. How long are they going to keep supporting the app? Let's say that they have a breakup and B&O goes with, I don't know. Do you think they would go back to Samsung? I don't know who else they could go to, right? Or LG says, you know what, maybe you guys
TCL,
need to take.
Hisense.
Oh God, but
Get
like
it at Walmart.
they can say that you guys take over the app development because we're not doing wasting resource on it, and I think then a lot of the users will be screwed if we have to rely on B&O's software capabilities.
No, I think it's good for B&O to be with LG and for LG to be with B&O.
I'm sure they have to borrow technologies back and forth.
Yeah, but it's also like high end and they claim to be high end and if you see it the other way, it's also the same, right? Like LG says we're
Fair
high
enough.
end, and you claim to also be high end.
LG screens are wicked.
Yeah, I mean,
They
and
are wicked.
essentially, LG makes the panels for everybody anyway. I mean,
Exactly.
the software is different, but the base. Well, there's a difference between LG Electronics and LG. LG has different uh, sub brands within the total brand, and LG, I think it's the television department, doesn't
Hmm.
have the primary right to buy the best panels of the LG part of the business that makes the panels. That's how
That's messed
Sony
up.
for the longest time had the best LG OLED panels in their Sonys.
Interesting.
I think it's probably to stop like monopoly inquiries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like every
So
other
that's
year
crazy.
Samsung is also in like lawsuits in Korea because there's so much intertwining with government to get out of certain things.
Where is Samsung's not in China, is it?
No, it's Korea,
It's Korean, yeah.
but so is LG,
Hmm.
I think, right? I mean, LG used to be Lucky Gold Star, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a Gold Star back in the day. That's a long time ago. Jesus.
Yes, some of us have been on this earth for a long time.
I
Right,
remember
guy?
the Gold
Right,
Star.
Sandeep?
I remember the Gold Star too. It's back in the days. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a bad idea for dealers to have that TV in the shop. If it works commercially, I guess cool. I don't know. I'm not biggest fan of it. I think it's a, you know,
I wonder what a panel like this would cost.
I I don't even know if the 55 is the biggest they can go with. Then I'm sure this is probably about 40K plus theater on the bottom of it, right?
You can have
With the
this
stand.
or a 97-inch Harmony, a 98-inch Harmony.
So I don't know. I do not see the logic in having a transparent display on top of your theater. I just do not see the logic on that at all.
Yeah, but sometimes
Yes,
it's not.
maybe in commercial, like again, but it's in commercial. Like if you put it in a showroom or if you put it in a like a condo model display, right?
But I think that's the whole point, right? When you go truly high end, a lot of the actual high end customers don't do stuff because it's logical necessarily.
Fair. No, that's very fair actually.
I mean, when was the last time you thought it was necessary to have like a dining room table that could sit a seat 18? Like, do you ever do that?
No.
Like at that point, you're renting an event space, right? Like, but people have that in their houses. If you look at these multi-million-dollar houses, the actual very high net worth individuals, like you have, like a buddy
They
of
have
mine,
dinners on each end of the table.
yeah, like a buddy of mine, interior designer, a while ago, he had to do a custom table, and I think it sat 18, and the client this basically told him it has to be one piece. So the problem came
Fucking
in
hell.
like, what truck do you put this in? Like, and how do you get it through any sort of door or because
Unless you gotta frickin' put a whole slit in the dining room wall and then just slip it in from the outside in if there's even a chance.
yeah, because it's like we're talking something like what, an 8 to 10 meter table.
I would say it would be about that much, yeah. 10, like 30 feet out of something, like 30 feet for sure.
Because if you just have a door, right, like, can you make that bend? Can you put it in a truck that's that long?
Fucking Home Depot flag at the back of it.
Yeah, how do you get it from wherever it's made to wherever you want to go? And especially if it has to be literally seamless in the sense there's no seams in one piece. It's like,
Well, you've got to have it packed properly, but yes, there is trucks to get it. It's not about getting it there. It's about that last freaking, I don't know. 30 feet or however long it has to go, wherever it needs to travel.
Yeah.
But I think that the only way to get it in is through the window. You take the window out and you slip it in.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure as shit you got freaking windows in your living room. And what kind of dungeon are you living in otherwise? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, I mean, but that's what I
Well,
mean. Like, there's probably somebody that wants to buy this because this BeoVision Spectre was recently shown at the Monaco yacht show,
mhm.
and like we're talking silly amounts of money, people, as in like, oh, you pleb, your boat is only 200 million.
You know, like I understand, but I just don't understand the logic behind having something see through that. Like that's just my opinion. Again,
Oh, I
if you want
I
to buy
agree.
it,
It's
go
not
ahead and do it.
logical, but it's also
No,
not logical to buy a boat for yourself to have a holiday on that needs like 20 staff to even operate as a boat, right? Like that's not logical. You're essentially buying a floating apartment building for yourself.
pretty much. Well, you don't even live on it. You don't even live in there for half the time, anyways. So
Yeah, but if you look like at the Roman Abramoviches of the world, like their boats, right? They need a year-round staff of 20 just to keep it functioning as a boat. Like that's not even the cooks and or the servers and all that nonsense.
mhm.
Like, is
Well,
that
they should have
logical?
90s. They should have 90s in
Oh,
that boat too.
sure.
Fuck it,
And even,
bolt them down.
but then we're talking about boats with like, I don't know. Do you need your 15th bedroom on your boat?
Probably. What if all the other 14 get wet?
I
So
mean, so yeah, there's gonna be a lot of. I mean, the BioVision was it 4103. That wasn't at all logical at that time.
no, and it was absolute disaster to even like move it into places. That's
But
all
there was
crane stuff.
one very high net worth individual that said, I want the TV to be as wide as my bed. Now, please.
Yeah.
And I don't care what it costs. And B&O went like, oh, $250,000. And he went, yeah, I said I don't care. It's fine.
Put it on my card. That's right. So,
But if that's the
but yeah,
target market, we're going to get a lot more, quote unquote, logical nonsense.
for me, I just don't see that TV being, especially like on a boat, right? Like if you put this on the boat, I do not see that little ass bracket holding up all that TV when the boat starts to rock in a storm. That thing's gonna like snap off,
It's
in my
probably
opinion.
your
Like,
fifth TV on that boat. So do you care or are you just trying to be a baller, right?
it's like I know you don't care, but then you look like a goof when shit falls off the walls too, right?
Yeah,
Just saying.
probably survive some way or another.
But
Giant lag bolt somewhere. They'll probably make a
I don't
custom
know.
bracket or something.
I don't know if everything's sellable. Of course, for me, it's just cool. That's cool. You always have that, but I
Yeah,
just don't see.
I mean, sense it does not make, right? Like, I
No,
totally agree. But,
but it is cool as fuck. I tell you, I'll give you that. It is very very cool. But again, yeah, that's more or less like a dick swing move type of thing.
yeah, but that's where we're going. If we're truly going after
Fair
the
enough.
very high net worth individuals, it's all about that. And it's going to be a
Well,
lot more custom stuff. Because why would you want to buy something that is expensive when every other fucker around you could also purchase it?
fair enough.
Like it's almost no longer about the price at that point.
I've been a witness to these wars before in my years working with B&O and different control systems also. And back when Calgary had money that we shoveled from the front porches, this is 2006, 2007, bro. Like that was, oh my God. That's when like the dick swinging moves were at its primest.
I mean, you see it with those BLab 90s in gold, right? Like where they just gold plated the entire chassis because reasons.
Why not?
Like, I have
They look
90s, it's
beautiful.
like, they're not even gold plated. It doesn't even add like 150 grand to them.
That's right. They sound the same, but no, they don't look the same, of course. Yeah, but it's the same thing, like, the Berluti thing, which, like that leather looked beautiful in the 90s. I just don't understand the price, but at the end of the day, now, a few years later, I'm completely over it because at the end of the day,
It's the
like
same
as
price
shocking
now
as
for
it
the
is,
normal ones as the Berluti ones, which is insane.
yeah, at the end of the day, it is. So, how much do you like? It's you just accept the fact. It's the same thing like the Ferrari edition or the Atelier, which is even more expensive than the bloody Ferrari, which I didn't think was possible. I really did not think that was possible to do.
I'd
To
rather
ask for
have the
more cash for
Ferrari
the same
edition
product.
personally.
Me too. I'm not into the fade colors, and I understand the complexity of making and achieving that particular blend and or uniformity, I guess, right? Because it's not
Mm.
just one they made. But no, I like the Ferrari stuff rules, man. It's very nice.
I mean, I'm
I'm a
not
sucker
even
for the
that
red
much
color,
into
so
Ferrari, but
neither
it's.
am I. It's nice.
I mean, I think if I were to buy a car in that sort of quality or price bracket, I'd rather buy a Porsche Turbo or an Aston or something like that.
I'd probably go for an Aston.
I mean, first of all, like I actually fit in Porsches and Astons,
Yeah,
which helps.
that's a good start.
Like I'm not Italian size.
That's a good start. But yeah, it looks pretty interesting in real life as far as the colors are concerned. It is a beautiful set. Like that speaker is very nice, man. It is expensive, but it is very, very nice.
Yeah,
Very nice.
it's expensive.
But that's another thing, right? Like if you wanted to make it more exclusive, put the glass top on it instead of just having that goofy plastic nonsense. Like I think that's a mistake. You know, on every single one of them, in my opinion, they should have the glass top now. Like Gen 3 should have had a glass top put on. You know what? If it's gonna be $150 more, so goddamn be it. It doesn't make any difference anymore. Really, it really doesn't.
Maybe if you want to go faster, you need to buy the Alonso edition of the Explorer.
It's also a nice color combo too. I don't mind it, but I like the.
It's oh god, it was too funny the other day. Alonso drives for Aston Martin in Formula One, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his teammate is Stroll, and he's Canadian, and his first name is Lance. And Alonso's doing really well, and his teammate is really shit.
Yeah.
And I saw the standings the other day, and it was Alonso, comma F because his first name is Fernando, and then in parentheses Ast. So Alonso fast, and then it was Stroll, comma L AST, so last.
Oh my god. Nice burn.
Well, it's
But yeah, I
also
still like it. I
the
like the
Lawrence
color.
Stroll, Canadian. He owns the team. Apparently, he's Canadian and owns like a few $1 billion, and just decided, fuck it, my son needs to race somewhere. Let's buy a Formula One team.
That's funny to have that much money. Just like, yeah, let's do that.
Son, you need this. I know you're shit.
That's right. But every Saturday we're gonna crank this down. So chestnut actually looks very nice in real life. The brown color. It looks very nice actually.
Is it sort of that V1 color that was sort of Havana, whatever it's called?
Havana brown, I think, or
Yeah.
Havana something. Yeah, that was a good color. Only time I saw that TV was in Denmark.
Yeah, it's quite rare.
It was in the factory too. It wasn't even in anywhere like in a showroom or anything. But yeah, this is very much like a cigar brown, like nice Maduro cigar brown. It's a nice color.
Guess it's 25% more for the Alonso edition.
And what is it? It's about the same for the Ferrari.
Yeah, except the price bracket is quite different. From
Yeah.
200 to 230 versus like $3,000 to $5,500.
Yeah, that's a big jump. That's a big jump. But you know what? People will buy it. If you want it, you get it, right? It's the same thing. Like you can get a Rolex that just tells you the time, and you can get a Rolex that has diamonds to show you the time. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they run the same, but not.
Mike Hunt says, do a Range Rover bespoke speaker system. More people buy Land Rover than Ferrari, and startup Range Rover is 100k pounds. So it's not a step down from a supercar. Yeah. I mean, to me, supercars are mostly frivolous money, as in, I don't begrudge anybody for doing it, but it's not your main car, right? Like, you got to be a bit of a... I mean, you got to be secure in that nothing that you do is necessarily imminently important. Because with a supercar, like, the chance of breaking down is always there. A lot more than with, like, whatever
Yeah, it's
else.
not. You don't take it on track on Saturday and then like, oh fuck, I have nothing to go home to work to on Monday. Like it's not that.
No. Or you don't even go food shopping in it thinking like, ooh, I have to be at work in 5 minutes. Like, ooh, that could be a few hours from now.
Yeah, no, that's.
I mean, though Range Rovers and Land Rovers don't have the best
reputation
about reliability either. There's always electrical gremlins somewhere.
It's funny. My friend's mom, she has a Land Rover, and yeah, it lights up every now and then like a Christmas tree on the dash.
Yeah. Don't know
Which is, I guess,
why.
normal for them.
A bunch of weird stuff always goes, like the air shocks and things. And I mean, Mercedes uses air shocks in their S classes, but those last for hundreds of thousands of miles. But Land Rovers, Range Rovers driving on the same conditions, because who takes them off road actually? Nobody.
The only off road they see is the little construction gravel that is between the asphalt when you know. Here, I would say it's like equivalent to an off road in Europe, in Montreal, because the roads here are abysmal. Like it's mind blowing, honestly. Like I recommend highly for everybody that can afford to come to Canada, visit Montreal, rent yourself a car, and just give her.
I mean, I think being in Audis is actually quite a good thing. I mean, I can also see them going in Porsches or BMWs, but Audi is just.
I
fine.
wish they did. I wish they did go to the Porsche long time ago. Porsche has bows in it, for God's sakes. So I just don't. I don't know why, but like since they licensed to Harman, there are Harman speakers in Porsches as well.
I think Harman as a whole has been bought by Samsung, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let's check that.
But that's yeah. Well, it's in the Fords now.
This is in 2017. Samsung Electronics bought Harman International Industries. So essentially, the B&O license for Harman Kardon in cars and stuff is now with Samsung. I mean, Samsung is also one of these companies that makes absolutely everything.
More or less.
From RAMs to chips to phones to screens to you name it, right? If it has any electronics in it, they'll make it. Even the subparts, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi is another one of these companies that makes everything.
Yeah, they make a lot of stuff.
I mean, they make cars, they make phones, they make washers,
construction vehicles,
they make dryers, they make ACs. They literally make spaceships for Japan, as in as like rockets to go into outer space. That's mostly
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Mitsubishi. Like they make
Really?
everything. They make housing equipment. They make drills. They make.
That's so weird. Yeah, if you think about it, yeah, they have a lot.
They probably make
There's a lot of
spoons
fingers, a lot
and
of pies.
forks and stuff too, because they have like Mitsubishi towns where everything in it is Mitsubishi.
That's weird. But they don't make cool speakers like B&O.
They probably do, but it's only in Japan and you've never heard of it.
Yeah. I don't know. I wonder how long it's gonna take for the app to be fixed back. So far, we haven't had people bitching about it from the shop or to the shop.
Would you say most
But
customers are in the app daily, or is it more TV people?
TV people.
I mean, that's my impression too. Like looking around in Europe, right? Like it's the in the B&O talk, the younger generation is definitely a lot more in the app, but mostly the app is set and forget. In my experience, for like the majority of customers that spend the majority of the money.
Well, my girlfriend doesn't really use the app. Like, if I think about it, because she uses Spotify Connect, right?
Yeah,
So she's
exactly. Like
connected.
it's set and forget. Like you use the app
Yeah.
once to set up like a TV or a Beosound, whatever, right? And then you use a remote or AirPlay or whatever.
Yeah. And when she streams to the M3, then she joins the V1 with the remote.
Yeah.
So then they both, because there's no source to go Spotify Connect, right, into the TV,
Yeah.
other than Apple TV. But then you don't have to have the panel running. So, no, it works. It definitely works. But yeah, I'm not. For me, obviously, I'm in the app more or less every day because of the work I do. But at home, I don't. I usually have everything done through the remote control. I don't play with the app much. I don't see a point in playing with it, really. Like, and especially like I do when I listen to music every now and then. But now that they've kind of limited the way that it works, I'm not really listening to it as much. I just put a Deezer flow, and if I go have a shower, I join the Emerge and just whatever. But I don't. They kind of more or less, not that they just killed the utility, but they really limited the utility of the app by doing this. So,
by the way, I put up a poll, but it's like, how often do you use the B&O app? And I intend to mean by choice, not by like I'm forced to because shit doesn't work, right?
You have to reset it and whatever.
Yeah.
So,
because I try to use it as little as possible, because I mean, if it works, there's no reason to use it often.
No.
I mean, especially if you have maybe M3s are a bit different, but if you have remotes and stuff, you don't even need to use the app to join anything.
No, if you have remotes, yes. You don't need the app at all. No, you can still hands-on join stuff anyways, right? Like you long press the button on the M3 and it just bing bongs in. It's the same with Emerge, or which is weird because if I join it Emerge with the theater now, it doesn't bing. It only bings when you do it hands-on or with Essence remote.
I mean, also for like TVs, like a theater and stuff. Once you've set it up correctly, I don't find myself going back there often by choice to change stuff.
No.
It's more like, oh, I want to play or want to see if I can, I don't know, get an extra % performance to my ears from XYZ. But it's rarely like, oh, I feel like I need another listening position or something because my 8 of them aren't already enough. No, that's every position here. 8 is like, oh, I scooted like 30 centimeters to the left. I need a
new position. No, I'm not that crazy. I used to be, but not anymore. Well, the theater kind of limits that crazy a little bit, right? Because it's more or less of a pain in the ass. You can still rotate the theater itself on the floor stand, but then it doesn't adjust the way it used to, it or the way it's supposed to adjust, right? Where I think it was way more forgiving back in the day with the old BeoVisions. So that the precision in the theater sometimes also serves as its own detriment when it comes to flexibility.
BV guy says BeoVisions are fine for Beo Remote 1 app needed for A6, A9, other ASC stuff. That's what I tend to use remotes for, because I have more than one, and Essence remotes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like or my Halo for that matter.
Yeah, I honestly I use my Beo Remote one for everything. That's just how I've been living for years and years, and it goes all the way down to light and control commands that I had before I moved out to Montreal. Everything was on the Beo Remote one for every room, based on the room I was in. Right, it became a little bit limiting, and that's one of the reasons back in the day I switched back to Avant from the BeoVision Eclipse, because it would not let me modify the remote control first of all the way I wanted to, and I had issues with using light control commands because the software wasn't really there at the time. So it kind of, it sucked. But it all works with the IR back in the day.
I guess a lot more people than you and I listen to music from like servers and stuff, local files.
I listen
DLNA.
to a lot of radio.
Yeah,
I
me
listen to
too.
a lot of radio, so I don't consume, like, if I do listen to Deezer hi-fi per se, it's something that I actually like would sit down and pay attention, other than putting it into a flow, which is more or less again a radio of 50/50 your music and whatever new comes in, and then I just do my shit around the apartment or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But usually no, like if I sit down and I listen to music, I do it with Deezer Hi-Fi. I use the app. I use the app for sure. But that's
If I do
very
Deezer, I
few
tend to start
times.
standardized playlists, and usually the Deezer playlist is a my button anyway.
Hmm. Yeah, I only have one button allocated for a playlist, which is the flow, and then the other one is just the radio, and the other ones is YouTube and Prime. So it works well.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I guess it's handy for us to sort of understand you guys better, but it's probably also handy for B&O. They probably already know this, is looking at how people use their stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, because you consent to a lot of things before you start using the app.
You may read it or not, like it or not, you are agreeing to it.
Yeah. I mean, you can opt out of it, but I mean, it's so there's a fair divide. Like I guess me, like there's about 40%, like a few times a month using the app. It's maybe what I would do too,
Hmm.
but it's half the time it's something isn't working right, or just having a look, or not effectively doing a lot of things.
Hmm. Yeah, like I said, I don't have a choice. I use the app all the time to set up stuff, so I'm pretty proficient with the app. But at
Yeah, but
home, I
it's
don't
work,
really
right?
use it
Like if you
much.
take out
Yeah,
work out, it's.
no.
I wonder if they disaggregate that data of all the installers and what you call it, shop owners and or employees in the shop. Like they're like, "Ooh, our app is really good. It's getting a lot of use." And it's like all the shop owners and installers going. Ah!
See, but I always use the app now that they figured it out and it works flawlessly. I always take control of the account, so I make the person, like, just to give you like a rundown. Like if I go, we're installing a stage, let's say, in an LG TV on the wall, right?
Hmm.
So the first thing we do is it's two guys always. So I would unwrap the stage, plug it into the wall, get the network set up while the other guy measures out the wall and whatever. Get the stage online, updating, right? Well, first I would get the account created for the guy, take over his account, because then I don't have to be reliant on him if they fuck off on the phone and it sucks, right? So it's better to have you be in his domain and just do it. So I set it all up, and then we hang the TV, we hang the stage, turn it all on. Sometimes there is even time to, like, flip the display upside down and or download, but usually that happens on the wall, where we download the software for the update the LG panel and turn off all the nonsense and blah 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 bloatware, and then it's set up, right? And then the client gets the control back. They still have the control, but they have to restart it. When you restart the app, they join in their Deezer, and then that's how they are more or less taught how to use it. If you have a Beo Remote one, you set them up the My buttons, and it's funny because it's like people that are just getting that system, they have no fucking clue what the My buttons do really, or what they are, and even when you explain it to them, sometimes they just press and hold, and it's longer than they should, and it overwrites the My button, right? So then there's that risk of it, but
don't do that with 70% volume on.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there is. Lars asking, do you guys tinker with the wonky advanced sound settings in Harmony? Do you go by default configurations and then with the bass, treble, and loudness? I always turn on the loudness, and bass and treble I just leave as it is. I do more or less. I find that the effect that it has on the room is the dB level, and obviously the distances. But the dB levels and how they set up, it really makes a big difference in how you acoustically perceive it. Let's say you have a subwoofer, that's a different story. But if you don't, like if you just have 18s with the Harmony, I would probably go with the bass a little bit up, or cheat a little bit and put the 18s in the freestanding mode instead. And that's about it. I don't really go much into the depth of messing with it, because at the end of the day, if it's for a client, like I know what it's supposed to sound like generally in the room based on being around this product for decades now. So I know what the image is supposed to look like acoustically, so I try to match it, but sometimes you just can't because of the if it's too much glass in the room and whatever else have you, there's only so much you can do. What are you laughing at?
Myself, I got a stupid freeze frame.
Freeze frame. Let's see it. Shared with the class.
I did a whole video about setting up a Harmony for surround. Go have a look. Because this is when I still had 28s in the back, and.
But I would honestly say, Lars, oh nice. So what you had, a shot of lemon juice?
No, I just passed it and it's like.
It's immensely wide. But yeah, I would say that like Harmony, I don't think it's as much demanding of attention as the Beosound Theater.
No, but you can make a Harmony sing like crazy by overriding the defaults if you
know what you're doing.
Yeah, and that's partially what I go through, right? Like, because 17s are enormously capable, but in this setup with 50s up front, everything under 120 hertz goes to the 50s regardless. So the 17s barely were producing any bass. So you can change that setting, but you can also change how much of the bass to begin with is redirected. Because I think the standard setting is all of it. But you can do half of it, or a quarter of it, or 3/4 of it, depending on what you run as a setup.
Yes.
But that makes an enormous difference.
Bass redirection definitely does.
And I don't really play a lot with the bass and or treble settings, because that's not really what I think makes the biggest difference, depending on what you have, right? But I think the bass redirection makes a bigger difference. The same for
Well,
sort
because
of,
you make it a full range speaker again, right, and not just an effect, because the bass
yeah.
comes back to that driver or
Also, if
to
you
that speaker.
since you put bass first, I think you probably feel like you're lacking bass. The standard
Hmm.
setting is that one of the two connected channels for like left front and right front becomes the LFE speaker. You can double that up or make it none at all.
Isn't that more or less anecdotally how they solved it with the theater?
Yes.
That the bass redirection level is now automated
Yes,
based on what
absolutely.
speaker you have and the tuning itself. But that's you just gotta lower the crossover to 20 hertz on the speaker or on the speaker setup in the app. Then it just pounds,
But
unless you have a subwoofer.
yeah, but I went through that whole thing, and how important it is to have the distances right is crazy.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so get the DB app. The app, the ultimate exact DB is not as important as what it is relative to each other.
Hmm.
So if you, I don't know, let's say you have an iPhone DB meter, right, and it reads 50 or 60, whatever, but it's actually 63 with like a properly calibrated one. It doesn't matter, because if that is doing 3 less, it's most likely that that one is also 3 less.
Yeah, it's gonna be a skewed measurement all the way across, but you're gonna have the
But
same
as long
measurement
as
no
the
matter what.
same measuring device is skewed, it's fine.
That's right.
It's sort of like if your tape measure is off by an inch, but as long as you keep using it for everything else, it's fine.
So
But so it depends on how in depth you want to go. But you can do a lot of redirection stuff. Also, one thing that is annoying, I think, well, in my case, right? I think the LFE channel was automatically assigned to my left 50, but that's where all the glass was. So if it went like haywire, it's also where
mhm.
the glass of the neighbors was around. So I changed that around, so it was the right one that's more in the room, where there's no glass next to it.
Mhm.
That sort of thing. I mean, the the approximation of the standard settings by B&O for just plugging it in are really good.
Yes.
Like, it's really good, but you can optimize it. If I would almost say if you plug in something like 18s and 50s, it's not really needed. If
Mhm.
it's a simple 5.1 setup, you're not really gaining anything besides doing levels and distances correctly.
Yeah.
But if you have more than 5 speakers, I would say it starts to get worth it to mess around with things. I mean, and
Yeah.
I obviously had one of the fullest harmonies there probably ever was.
How many did you have? No, 10 speakers?
8 at the time.
8? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I mean, I had the harmony itself, I had the 50s, I had the 18s, I had the 17s and 17s.
oh boy.
Laura says, what about 90s plus 50 and one set of 17s? On the harmony or on the theater? Because
I don't think it make any difference other than center channel making a huge difference on the theater.
no, but I mean, for terms of like going into settings, the theater automates so much of it
Yes.
that it's you can play with it to your liking, but it's less needed because it's so automated. But it's automated well, I would say.
Hmm.
I would say the primary thing you probably can look at a little bit is the 17s, because it doesn't necessarily from the start with calibrating know it's a height speaker. So
Yes.
if you feel like you're not getting enough from that, you can play a bit with that. I mean, because like you probably noticed with the mic calibration, if you have 90s, 50s, or whatever, right, and height speakers, they'll just be set up as wide speakers or double up as something else that's approximate.
Yeah, because it doesn't have the height sensing.
Yeah, you
It does it
probably
one
need
dimension.
another microphone or like a contraption for it where there's something a known distance and then you can time it on more axes.
Yeah. That's going to be probably on the next one.
Who knows? Maybe it's an update. Maybe it may be a microphone contraption, right?
What do you mean?
Like you could probably do it with an enormous mic stand that had two mics on it that were at a known distance from each other. Like you plug in a microphone, but it's two mics, but one is here on a
Oh, okay, I
bar,
see.
and another one is here. But because
Or
that way
bottom and top of the tripod, basically.
something like that with two or with two sensors on it, because that way you know where it crosses from everywhere.
Yeah, there definitely is.
Or you
But
get
that would be
a different mic with like the Atmos mics they sometimes use for recording, where there's like 6 diodes on it pointing all the different directions, but they also know what the relative distance is to each
but
mic.
that's like what USB at that point. I don't think it's just a regular freaking jack.
Probably not.
So then you got to accommodate for the input on the theater at that point. I think theater does overall very good, but I don't understand why it always like everything reads always into the negative dBs. Is it because of? I just don't get it. I don't get why it's
At
always.
least one thing doesn't, which is whatever is the baseline. Because if you calibrate it and everything is negative, that shouldn't happen.
Most of it is all the time. Like on
but there's one speaker, right? Once something it picks as the baseline. Like when I was having trouble with the 19, that speaker was because it chose the 19 as the baseline. So the 19 was at 0, and then even the 18s were at like minus 19.
Interesting. So if you have, well, for me, it has to pick either or 18 then for the baseline.
See whatever is at 0 is what it picked as the 0 as the baseline for it. So most likely one of your 18s is at 0, and then relative to that, everything else is less because your 18 is the weakest.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I would have to reset it because I already went in there and diddled with the back and I changed it all. Sounds great, but I did change it. Though I gotta say, the virtualizer, I was not really skeptical about it for a while, and then finally one day, which was 2-3 weeks ago, I set it up and I duplicated one of the listening positions and I put that on, and I was thoroughly impressed watching a movie. I was thoroughly impressed what it does. I'm sure I mentioned it last podcast, but it's worth talking about it again. It was, man, so good.
I mean, again, standard bass management in eclipses and harmonies, the crossover frequency is set at 120. So if you have something like 50s or whatever, and 17s even, 17s will play happily down to like 33 hertz. Yes. But probably without drop of dB, probably to 40 hertz. So this would be way too high if you have 50s and 17s. Because you can easily set it to 60, so halve it, which would use your 17s way more than if you let it be.
Mm-hmm.
But that becomes speaker dependent. But anyway, if this is set like this in a harmony, like below 120, everything will go to your most capable speakers. That's essentially what that means. And then, you can filter your speakers. Like, it's a whole video. It's a longer one.
Yeah.
And it's still fairly a basic setup because mean, if you want to set up your Harmony and or Eclipse like expertly, which I don't even claim I am, you're gonna be spending 2, 3, 4 hours on it.
Oh yeah, no, you're
And
gonna do
that's
it for.
once everything is already attached to it. Like, I don't mean physically, I'm just meaning going through menus, testing, hoping your room is correct. And that's a lot of what the theater takes out of the current thing with the mics.
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna adjust all my shit to 40 hertz and try that.
I mean,
That might.
the frequency response curve usually B&O gives, I think 18s are rated at like 41, 42 hertz or something as the
Mhm.
bottom, what they'll play, right? But that is 40 hertz at minus 10 dB. I mean, they'll play lower, but it becomes so low that relative to all the other tones, it's inaudible.
Yes.
So I think where the drop off starts for 18s is somewhere around 60 hertz or so, where it's like -1 to maybe 3 dB, which is still sounds pretty in line, but it's noticeable if you have an A/B test of just test tones.
That's weird. This one was randomly at 80 hertz. I don't understand how and why. But
Could
that's which one?
could
Sofa
be room.
Virtual. Yeah, that's the one that I copied over. That's pretty interesting because it wasn't on 20 on the other one. So yeah, I'll change them and see how they work. Because it does make a difference. It definitely makes a big difference.
I mean, so if you're on the B&O website for speakers, and let's say oh, what show the eights are the frequency response will eventually be told for the eights, but that will go after mass production starts. I was told, which makes sense because if you have production differences where like you list, let's say it goes from 30 hertz to 21,000 kilohertz or 21 kilohertz or something like that. But because of
Hmm.
production, it only does 33. Everybody's going to be annoyed,
Yeah.
which is essentially meaningless. But it's so let's look at okay. This is like the frequency spec they give for 28s. That they go from 27 hertz to 23 kilohertz. Well, that 27 hertz is at -10 dB versus, let's say, probably 50 hertz. So if you do not touch the volume and you play 27 hertz, it's going to be woo. But if you then play 50 hertz, it's going to be which is a lot louder. So you kind of have to actually measure them like with Rue or whatever, or you can even use your iPhone for it. Because even if it's faulty, right, you know where the drop off is.
Hmm.
And every 3 dB is perceived as twice as loud, roughly, by the human ear. So 10 dB is like 3x less loud. So that's kind of where you want to set that crossover if you have a sub or whatever. I mean, if you have a
Yeah.
bunch of 18s and a 19, like the 19 will happily play to, I think, 200 hertz. So 120 is fine.
I find the sweet spot with that, or more or less me and Kareem found. Kareem was playing with it quite a bit. It's about 100 hertz.
Yeah.
Put the 100 hertz on the theater, and then the subwoofer just shines. Otherwise, if you go all the way to 20, then it doesn't, because then it crosses over and it puts all the bass through the theater's drivers more or less as well.
But again, I
So
mean,
if you,
the theater plays to 27 or 28 hertz, but that 28 hertz is at -10 dB,
that's right.
which is like all the energy is out of it. It'll still play. I mean, it'll play lower, but it's at such a diminished volume.
Then it's not even
Even
worth.
though you
Yeah,
don't touch the volume dial, right? It's just
it can't. It's just where it's at. It can't.
mean, it would be something if we get to the point where we get a dynamic volume scale, but I don't think anybody would want that because you'd go crazy, right?
No, no, that's or the flat, whatever, just making everything just dynamic, take the dynamics out of it. That's even worse. But yeah, there's a lot, that I've played with the theater over the time to make it sound the way it does. Definitely, it's not. It wasn't. It doesn't sound the way it sounded out of the box setup per se with the microphone than it sounds now, and that's especially going into the advanced settings of each sound uh, sound mode, not speaker position, and then adjusting that makes a huge difference
Yeah.
especially in the movies, and the amount of envelopment, the stage width, and surround. It definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, I would definitely play with that if your room is suboptimal, because
Hmm.
that is effectively how you can change the acoustics uh, from a suboptimal room for like a sort of virtualized optimal room.
Yes.
Uh, and this is partially why I've always had a hard time finding places I want to live because the living room has to be somewhat of an optimal shape, so I do the least amount of messing around with the virtualizers and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm the same way. B&O dictates a lot where I live.
Yeah, yeah, it's
It's
fully true. Like, uh, I live around my B and O, not my B and O lives around me.
but then it works, you know what I mean? It just all functions properly, I guess, and it also it looks visually, it ties in very nicely. 54% use the app daily. Wow. So that's quite a bit of usage on the app.
Interesting.
I'm very surprised actually.
Yeah, me too. I would have thought a few times a week would have been higher than daily.
Hmm.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's either if you use it daily or I guess a few times a month. Not many people use it weekly. And rarely I would adjust. I would adjust. I would assume that it would be people that don't adjust anything, and it's just more or less if you have a BeoSound stage with, let's say, Samsung TV.
I kind of meant this question, Sandeep, as in not by choice.
That's so funny. Usually to check what's going wrong. Well, they definitely pulled a number on it. I hope they fix it. Like I don't understand the deletion of non-deterministic sources, which just it's such a big mouthful of nonsense. Uh,
I think it's
that
internal
they've done that.
speak, and they just assume everybody else understands what they're talking about, right?
But I guess
It's
in the
almost like
logic,
accountants going, "Have you filled out form W blah blah blah?" It's like, what the fuck is that? You don't know
exactly.
W blah blah blah? It's like, no,
That's
I'm
why
not
I'm
a
paying
fucking
you.
accountant.
But I think that, like, the logic behind it is that if you're using the app, that you're already in the main screen of the product. So then on the bottom you have your Deezer and your B&O radio. But it just makes no sense that it's not correlated to the other sources. That you have to go back out of the dark screen with the album art of or now playing screen. You have to close that in order to change from Deezer to B&O radio, because the pull out menu or pull down menu, at this point it's pull down because it's from the top, it doesn't show you those two sources. It shows you the USB-C input on the theater for some awkward reason.
Yeah, it's weird. This is partially what I don't like about the menu no longer being in the TV but on your phone. It's, to me, it's suboptimal.
I like it more or less for the sake of ease of naming stuff, but
I'm
sometimes
so
it's
comfortable with BV10, BV Eclipse,
Avant
Harmony
was a game
menus.
changer. Game changer was on Harmony or Avant, sorry, when you actually got a full QWERTY keyboard that was easier to navigate. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that. I don't know how tough it would be. I guess it would have to be a lot to collaborate with LG and the app, so those menus become available within the panel to control, just like they are in the Harmony. I don't see why.
I think it went to the app because every other panel had to be available.
That's probably I think that was the correct reasoning behind it. That if somebody buys a Samsung or whatever, then still you have to have an app to control it with. Which is, I don't know, it's a mistake. I don't think they should have ever sold it as a soundbar. It should have been also sold as a BeoVision concept, and that's it. Because not many people buy them with any other screens, and especially you can't put a Samsung frame on it. The way the Samsung frame mounts now, it's a complete utter nightmare and nonsense. And secondly, it has its own goofy processor that you have to hide somewhere because you have that magic link cable.
Yeah.
If you look at it wrong, it's fucked. So, and the picture quality is suboptimal in my opinion on the Samsung frames compared to LG, especially like with the G3 platforms and going
I wonder
firmware.
how many extra sales they actually got. I mean, maybe it's because I think we are biased. That goes without saying. But half the B&O experience, in my personal opinion, is not even what's on the wall. It's the remote in your hand. And just foregoing that with any other panel than LG, I personally don't understand. Like, why would you still want to have that plastic piece of junk?
Mm.
Like, of any other brand, right? Like, even the LG remote is shit.
Oh,
Like,
Jesus.
but the Samsung remote is kind of like, compared to Bio Remote 1.
Yeah, there's not many. There's, I guess the Control 4 is trying with their, aluminum inspired chassis remotes with the big touch screen, but that's now you're talking a different control system company completely, right?
Yeah.
It's not something that comes out of the box with the only nice remotes that I've really seen is on Burmester amplifiers and preamps.
Interesting.
It's silly because they take two CR2032 batteries, but they are very resembling of a BeoLink 1000. And also in weight, like they are fully cast out of one piece of metal. So they're very nice remotes. But other than that, I haven't seen really any, you know. And again, like for me, it's the same thing. Like I really touch only two things in my house. I touch the Beo remote one and the Essence remote in the bedroom. I mean, bathroom, because I don't really even though the Emerge is right here in front of me, I still turn around and touch the. I just find it's easier than like to do the volume control on the Emerge because I'm not a biggest fan of that touch pad thing. Sometimes you skip your finger too much and it goes super loud. So I like the gradual control of the Essence remote, and also gives me a reason to use it. So, oh no, that's the different one. Like it's a skinny remote. It's what is it? One, two, three, fourth row down, and one over to the right. Yeah. Where are you? One more down.
That
Yeah.
one?
I think it's this guy. So yeah, those are. It was funny. Then we did one of the installs. I'm like, oh my god, we don't have CR2032 batteries. But yeah, those are nice, and actually, like the not just the presentation wise, the buttons push very nicely, and it's also, you know, it does give you that premium product feel. But everything else, man, you grab it's just cheesy plastic, and it gets greased up and some sweaty hands and whatever.
It's
It
interesting how
doesn't
that
have
goes.
that
It's like,
presentation.
even, I don't know, some of these amp companies and whatnot, you have a 10 grand amp and then like this total China plastic remote control, right?
With a big light bulb on the top that backlights the features.
Yeah. I mean,
Which
you have
still
like
makes it cool.
metal twisting knobs on the front and everything,
Yeah.
but the remote is like, this is what?
It's shit.
$2?
Yeah. Most of the like Yamaha Marantz, remotes are just, it's crap.
mean, I don't think any of these remotes look good, but if the materials are right, that's at least one thing.
But B&O has it figured out yet. The remote, like the only thing they don't have figured out is the bloody backlighting of it, man. They should totally make a Mark III or Mark II. Well, I guess Mark III now because the Mark II was the Bluetooth version of it. But make a Mark III remote that has a backlighting. Make a theater or whatever. Make it a make it a Beo Remote Theater edition, just like there was a Beo 4 Cinema, or call it a Beo Remote Cinema. And I don't care if it eats 3 packs of batteries a day. Like, I just want something that is cool as hell and it's backlit.
Make it double wide, put 4 double A's in there. It's fine.
Double wide. No. No, I think the remote is perfect the way it is. It just, like I said, it needs either phosphorus on the buttons or backlit keypad. It really needs that.
So looking at something, apparently there's, I forget what it was, but apparently there's this sort of light up stuff that you can get in your keycaps, right? That lights up, that you can print into them, and it's like, surely if they can put it in keycaps for keyboards, it's doable for a remote.
It is.
It's probably low on the priority, though. I mean, I understand to a point, but like,
I don't think it should be low on the priority list because that is, like we said, it's the only thing that you really interface with on a daily basis. You grab the remote control. The only time I touch the theater is when I have a cloth in my hands.
Is it more that thinking of like people use the app anyway? Like, why bother?
Well, then put the enable app remote control of the TV in the bloody theater as well in the app, like it does have it on the stage. I don't see why the disconnect is still there.
Yeah.
That's never been addressed or fixed, and I think that's one of the things that it's crucial, in my opinion, to fully have the experience of a premium product that now costs, 6 times more than the stage does.
Yeah, it's probably because it's compatible with so many other screens that it's not able to.
Well, but no, I understand that, but so is the stage. Stage is incompatible with all the other screens on the LG app level.
Yeah.
But if you pair it with an LG screen, you install the B&O app, it bloody works. You can enable in-app remote.
Super secret way of getting you to buy more Halos because the Halo does work.
The Halo has the remote on it, but man, I might get an Halo again just for the shits and giggles.
Yeah.
I like that remote, but I don't think I'll get it here. I'll get it in Florida once I'm there because I want to get the gateway up and I want to have the time set up so it shows the time, because here the network is just shite.
There's a whole thread for Halo and or home automation, so you can go ham on it. By the time you're in Florida, it's probably you don't even need the gateway. You can just do it through home automation, the hacks or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Because Fair enough. Seems like people are just mostly automating the entire houses with B&O stuff through hacks.
In the home control?
Yeah. Without any BLI or gateway or whatever.
I haven't played with that yet. I haven't had time, but I need to sit down and just start tinkering with.
I'm pro Dumbhouse.
You know what? I don't. It's not even that I'm pro Dumbhouse or pro smart home. Like I'm honestly, I am past the voice control of shit. Like I really could care less about that part of the functionality in a smart home per se. But I do like, having lights turn on in the bathroom when you go in without messing it around, and having a keypad that you press one button and let's say a radio or a TV goes to a certain thing. Like I like that, and that can be still smart without you having to be on the internet, right? With the gateway per se, like it's still within the internal network. Yes, it won't stream anything because there's nothing online, but at least it's not something that constantly listens to me.
Speaking of that, bring back Essence remotes or something similar to it, where you can dot them all over your house, right? Make it just a my button and pause play.
I don't understand why that gone away. I don't understand
They
why
can
that
be a
gone
different
away.
form factor. They can be square. They can make to be look like a 4000C panel, something like that. Anything like
Camera in
that.
Florida Beano will work perfectly. I don't think so, brother.
But if you don't want to do the whole home automation, but want to come in and just press a button and something start playing, make Essence remotes available again, or something similar, an Essence-like remote.
I think they need that still. I think they need an auxiliary remote control. Like I understand that, in their point of view now, it's well, we have a Halo. I understand you have a Halo, bro, but the Halo is $1,000-something. The Essence remote was $400. Yes, it's more expensive compared to the features it offers, but then again, like you could put it anywhere because you're not dependent on the fact that you have to pull cable from inside the wall to feed the power into the Halo if you want it wall mounted, right? And if not, then you have to cater to it every 3 days to put it on a charging pad or plug it in, which then it's kind of nuisance in my opinion.
If you have it on the 2.4 gigahertz network, it'll last a lot longer. But then everything needs to be on the 2.4 gigahertz network because otherwise you can't reach it. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
So
have a good week, everybody. Bring back the Essence remotes.
that's right. Happy Thanksgiving and
happy munching. I hope everybody has a good week. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet already.
See you next week.
I hopefully will have some more shit installed next week, and we'll see how we go. Bye.
Take care. Thanks for watching.